This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Packers have scored just 20 points combined in their last two games. It's resulted in a pair of losses, including last night's 10-7 setback to the Eagles. The defense, meanwhile, has given up a total of 29 points in the team's three losses. But edge rusher Micah Parsons says the uneven play on either side of the ball won't split the locker room.
Frustrating, but it's just one of them things. Like, we're gonna win together and we're gonna lose together, like regardless of the outcome. And just being there for our teammates, regardless of who's playing better, which side's playing better. It's just important that, we hold each other up until they get rolling there. When everyone gets rolling, we'll be a really good team.
Green Bay is dealing with some major injuries, especially along the offensive line. That's where Elton Jenkins suffered a fractured leg, was placed on injury reserve today. The team also lost wide receiver Romeo Doubs in the game last night. Packers on a short week as they get ready to head to New York to face the Giants, who just fired head coach Brian Daboll. Kick on Sunday is at noon. Turning to Wisconsin, they have a new commit in their 2026 recruiting class. It's three-star running back Quantavious Wiggins out of Georgia, had been committed to FIU. The Badgers will be at number 2 Indiana on Saturday.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
When a company only does business in Wisconsin, that's Wisconsin Strong. Rural Mutual provides all lines of insurance, including commercial, farm, home, and auto. And your premiums stay right here to keep Wisconsin strong. Local agents, local underwriters, local claims adjusters.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, it's game day for the 24th ranked Wisconsin basketball team. They're going to face off against Ball State tonight at the Kohl Center. Tip is at 7:30. And the Bucks are in Charlotte. That's where they're going to face the Hornets tomorrow night. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heilprin.
It feels like he's a top 10 quarterback, but he doesn't play like a top 10 quarterback. He has those glimpses, and he's getting paid like he's a top 10, top 5 quarterback. But I'm watching last night. I kept thinking this defense is really good. That offense is not good at all. And the Eagles, you kind of carve out a win. It wasn't pretty, but they got a win, and a big win when you beat the Packers on the road. And that could be, down the road with home field advantage. But, this is really big if you're the Packers and you're leading the division to now you're third.
So I get back to the drawing board, get back to the film session, trying to find ways to figure out what we're not doing as well right now, what's kind of keeping us in a funk, and it always comes back to get back to it next week and get back to work.
This is where Wisconsin gathers to talk sports. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. The Wisco Sports Show is on the air. Now, here's your host, Grant Bills.
That's Jordan Love after the game last night, and Dan Patrick this morning, reacting a little bit to the game. Just thought that was a nice piece of audio to get the ball rolling. The Packers lost last night, and I didn't really have a good feel for this game. Bill and I both picked the Eagles just because, what have we seen recently to pick the Packers? I thought it would be close. I didn't think the Eagles were going to blow them out. I didn't really think it would be 10-7 close. I figured more like the Eagles would score 27 and the Packers would score 23 or 24, and they would be one drive or one score away. And I guess they were one drive or one score away. I didn't have a good feel for this game at all. Could have seen it going lots of different ways. One way that I did not see at all was 10-7. And was it 0-0 at halftime? I can't even remember. I think it might have been, right? What a weird, unexpected result. But the reaction has not been unexpected. We talked about the stakes of this game yesterday, and if the Packers lost, they would then have lost 2 in a row, and now they're 5-3. They go from first place in the division and near the top of the NFC. I don't remember where they were. I think they might have been second to now 7th in the NFC and 3rd in their own division, at least on November 11th. A lot of season to go. Today will not be probably a positive show. I can't imagine we're going to get a lot of positive calls. I remain very intrigued and interested because this season can still go so many different ways. They have 5 division games remaining. They go to New York. That's a winnable game. I think Baltimore at home is a winnable game. Denver, who knows? The Raiders almost went in there and beat them. So I'm not telling you that this Packers team is going to turn it around, but Packers fandom seems quite defeated today. And this season could continue to spiral, and it could go down the tubes, and it could end really ugly. A lot was written about last night. Matt LaFleur and his job security. Sure, that's on the board. I'm also not discounting the idea that they figure some things out. and win some games, everything's right in front of them with their division. The possibilities of this season remain endless. That's to talk about into the future. I want to talk about yesterday's game with you, and the number to do so is 608-321-1670, a little bit of a de facto post-game show, a delayed post-game show. You can comment on the live stream as well, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, at Wisco Grant, and the show always streams, as all of our shows do, on our Wisco Sports Zone app. I can't recommend downloading that thing enough because all of our podcasts are there. You can live stream all of our shows. You can watch all of our shows, whether it's Ebo in the morning or Bill in the midday, me in the evening, and then Zach and Jesse on the camp. I was just listening to their latest podcast earlier today, talking about Carter Smith and some of the other things that the Badgers are going to have to deal with and figure out going into Indiana, where they're 4 touchdown underdogs on Saturday. So all of that lives on the app. And again, I will shamelessly ask if you could subscribe to the YouTube channel. It would be appreciated because it helps me out a little bit, helps me make a couple of bucks, helps grow this platform, that sort of thing. The Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills. Get to your calls in segment number 2. I won't take too much time here in our opening segment. I think Bill perfectly hit the nail on the head this morning with his lead. I thought his first hour and really his opening monologue was excellent. Basically stated this offense is broken. And then I saw Cowherd's lead today. He said the same thing. That was the same wording. This offense is broken. The Packers offense is broken. That's what we're seeing right now. That's what we saw last night. And it didn't happen overnight. This has been a slow march from week 1 against the Lions to week 10. This has been slow entropy. This is steadily, slowly, consistently kind of decayed over the last 10 weeks. After the Dallas game, in which the Packers scored 40 and Jordan Love was awesome, opposing defensive coordinators all agreed, all right, no big plays for you. We're not going to let you hunt explosive plays. We're not going to let you push the ball down the field. We're just not going to let you beat us that way. So between the Bengals and the Cardinals and the Steelers and the Panthers last Sunday and the Eagles last night, teams progressively have kind of honed how to play Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love, and this current Packers offense. Fewer explosives, no big plays. We're going to make you be patient. We're going to make you dink and dunk. And I think progressively over the last 10 weeks, opposing defenses and defensive coordinators gotten a little bit better every step of the way. And this is a really schematic league. This is how it works. You have smart, seasoned, experienced football minds in every building pouring over hours of video every week, finding the littlest, smallest, most specific things. This is how football works. This is how the NFL works. And I think if you go back over the last 2 months, let's say, month and a half, you can really see from the Bengals to the Cardinals to the Steelers, although the Packers got hot in that game, to the Panthers and the Eagles, defensive coordinators have really got this thing dialed in. They've really dialed in how to play and how to defend Matt LaFleur's offense and Jordan Love's quarterbacking and this group of skill position players and this offensive line. And usually, when defenses sit in too high safety and they play no doubles defense, let's just call it, whether it's cover 2, cover 4, just the idea, you're not going to get behind us, right? When defenses play that way, let's just say no doubles defense. That's a good label, very accessible for football idiots like me that don't know the schematic terms. Usually, defenses that are sitting back and preventing big plays have to sacrifice a little bit underneath. We'll give up a little bit in the running game, and we'll give up a little bit in the short passing game. We'll give up some yards after the catch, as long as we don't give up the big plays. But the problem is for the Packers, they can't run. And now without Tucker Kraft, they have nobody who can really do consistent damage underneath in the short passing game and pick up yards after the catch. Last night was the Packers' first full game without Tucker Kraft. They had 39 total yards after the catch. And I don't know how many of them were Josh Jacobs, but just off the dome, just remembering watching last night, I haven't watched the old 22. I haven't watched any. I would just wager that a good chunk of that is Josh Jacobs. So typically, again, when defenses sit back and play no doubles defense, they give up something underneath. Against this Packers offense, you're not really giving up much because the Packers can't run, even against a box that isn't loaded. And their offense and their personnel really isn't geared to hurt you underneath. Now, the Packers have been able to do a little bit in the running game and a little bit underneath, but put it this way, they can't run enough. And they can't dink and dunk enough. They can move the ball all right, and they can do some things, which is why every week, Monday through Friday, when we reach the stats and graphs portion of the week, you say, oh, they're great in EPA and they're great in DVOA and points expected per drop. All of those numbers, it's like, wow, this Packers offense is elite. Because between the 20s or in the course of a big picture over a game, they can move the ball around and they can march up and down the field. The last 2 games, I think it was Eli Berkovitz tweeted this last night. The last 2 games, the Packers have been in opponent territory 11 times. They've scored a total of 20 points. They've gotten in position. They've moved the ball. They are just lacking a couple of plays in each of these drives. They can run a little. They can dink and dunk a little. They can't run enough. And they can't dink and dunk enough. They can't do enough to force defenses to defend them differently. And at this point, why would any defense do anything differently? We're just going to sit in no doubles defense, and we're going to let you'll get a couple of runs with Jacobs, maybe. You're not going to be able to run the ball enough to go 80 yards and score a touchdown. You're not going to be able to hurt us underneath enough, especially now without Tucker Kraft. You're not going to be able to go 80 yards and score a touchdown. You might get a few plays, but who cares, right? This started weeks ago, a month and a half ago, as a schematic hiccup. Ooh, a little bit of an adjustment. Oh, defensive coordinators and defenses are, I see how they're defending Matt LaFleur. Okay, maybe they're onto something. A schematic hiccup. They haven't been able to course correct. They haven't been able to find an adjustment. They haven't been able to execute on a high enough level to deal with it. And I think now what you're seeing weeks later, again, I think this goes back to probably post-bye. So we're talking Bengals, Cardinals, Steelers, Panthers, Eagles. What you're seeing now after a run of these last 5 games is you're seeing an offense that's starting to press and get really frustrated. And it's leading to mistakes like drops. Notice the drops were back last night. Now, part of that is, maybe Bo Melton isn't your preferred wide receiver on some of those looks, but Dontavian Wicks, who'd been pretty good this year, has a drop. Romeo Doubs all of a sudden can't pull in a very important pass. I think that's the result of an offense that's pressing. It's a culmination of frustration that's been going now for 5-6 weeks. All of a sudden, guys are running into each other when running routes. Part of that is, Bo Melton is playing more and they're, missing some of their preferred targets. But I think part of it is frustration. Guys are pressing. Guys are losing focus a little bit with drops, running into each other, on shallow crossing routes. We saw that a couple of times last night. Or Josh Jacobs, who's the most seasoned, veteran, experienced, trustworthy player on this offense, who's got a wide open path into the flat. He might still be running today if he had just turned to the left, and he turns his head to the right, inexplicably. I think that's the result of an offense and the personnel on offense, especially wide receivers, running backs, tight ends, who have just gotten frustrated and they've started to press. And now we're seeing drops and route running mistakes and alignment issues. Romeo Doubs covering up the 6th offensive lineman, Donovan Kennard, who reported as eligible. So you can't cover him up. It's the biggest play of the game to Christian Watson, would have put him comfortably into field goal position. They'd be knocking on the possibility of a touchdown, and Romeo Doubs covers up Donovan Kennard, or whatever his name is, the 6th lineman. They're pressing. They're frustrated. It's starting to stack up, and now it's leading to mistakes. And I know, Matt LaFleur. I know. Yeah. Matt LaFleur, he sucks. He's a bad coach. He should be fired. I know. And to be fair, it always does start with the head coach, especially to tweak and adjust and react to opponents when they react and adjust to you. Yes, of course, it all starts with the head coach. But it's been open season on this guy all day. Part of it is warranted. But the other part of it is, guys, and I think you know this, like, he can't make his wide receivers catch the ball. And he can't hold on to the ball for Jordan Love in a bad fumble. And his O-line is his O-line. He is playing the hand, personnel-wise, on the offensive line that he has been dealt. And I was yelling about this 2 months ago. I was yelling about this before the season started. I said, guys, you're paying a pile to Zach Tom. You've drafted Jordan Morgan in the 1st round, Anthony Belton in the 2nd. You paid Aaron Banks a bunch of money. We're trying to figure out, well, now are you going to extend Elton Jenkins to play center? And then what do you do at left tackle? Rasheed Walker, he's fine, but are you going to pay all of these guys and still have an offensive line with question marks? You're going to draft offensive linemen with premium picks. You're going to sign all of these guys to a bunch of money, and I'm still not convinced this O-line is any good. Andy Herman tweeted about this last night. I'll read it for you. He said, as much blame as there is to go around, Banks and Morgan and Belton is currently a colossal misuse of resources and a massive reason that Green Bay is struggling on offense. Ken Ingalls, who's never been on the show, but he tweets some good stuff, said Packers 2026 O-line question marks. Rasheed Walker, unrestricted free agent. Sean Ryan, unrestricted free agent. Darian Kennard, I believe I said Donovan, apologies, restricted free agent. Donovan Jennings, exclusive rights free agent. Elton Jenkins, he's got a broken leg now, likely going to be cut. Aaron Banks might just stink, and he's hurt all the time, and he's expensive. It's Matt LaFleur can't make his wide receivers catch the ball. He can't make Jordan Love hold on to the ball. He can't coach around the offensive line personnel he has. The final play call, everyone's lighting Matt LaFleur up for running inside zone on 4th and 2. And yeah, maybe it's predictable, but when Jordan Love is standing 5 feet away from an Eagles player that's calling out the play, I don't know, man, maybe do something about it. Like, what is Matt LaFleur supposed to recognize that and give you a hand signal? Supposed to bail you out with a timeout? Like, dude, you're right there. You're hearing an Eagles linebacker call out the play and where it's going, and you do nothing. You snap the ball and you hand it off. Like, and that's supposed to be on Matt LaFleur. Again, it starts with the head coach, 100%. And in the biggest of big picture, which is usually where I try to start the show, and then we nitpick on specific things as the show goes along. In the biggest of big pictures, the Packers are in this spot because opponents have figured out how to defend this offense. And it rests on Matt LaFleur to come up with an adjustment to that adjustment. So in the biggest of big picture, yes, this starts with Matt LaFleur. But as you go deeper, you guys, there's a lot of stuff. Like, what do you want Matt LaFleur to do? He's tried, Savion Williams wasn't making plays, so he tries Bo Melton, who drops a big pass, right? They can't really run the ball that well. Okay, let's try to do some screen stuff. Let's try to do a pop pass. Well, that didn't work, so now we're mad at that. I'm not defending Matt LaFleur. He hasn't been good enough, but I think a lot of Packers fans, you can spend the next 2 hours of the show calling in and yelling about Matt LaFleur if you want, and I'll take your calls and I'll do it with you if that's what you want to do. But I think a lot of you are doing it to make yourself feel better. Because I think if you only put this on Matt LaFleur, Packers fans and my fellow owners, you're lying to yourself just a little bit about how complicit maybe Brian Gutekunst is in some of the shortcomings of this roster, how complicit Jordan Love is in not necessarily like really hurting the team. I don't think Jordan Love has actively hurt the team this year. He's got a couple of bad picks. And that fumble yesterday, like everyone's describing that play like Jordan Love just decided to puke it up. I think it looked worse than it is. He got hit as he was trying to check the ball down, so it looks like he just coughed. I mean, he was getting hit. So I don't know. If we're ranking Jordan Love bonehead decisions, I don't really put that one all that high. I think Jordan Love hasn't actively hurt the team this year as much as a lot of people would think, but he's certainly had a lot of opportunities to go win games and help the team, and in a lot of those opportunities, he hasn't. So if you only want to kick and scream about Matt LaFleur, fine. I'll do it for the next 2 hours, and I'll take your phone calls, and we can have that discussion. But ask yourself before you do, like, am I only throwing this on Matt LaFleur just to make myself feel a little bit better? Like, oh, if we just fire Matt LaFleur, everything will be fine. If we just get a different head coach, play caller, everything will be fine. I don't think it's that simple. But if you want to talk, if you want to have that conversation, more than welcome. The rest of the show is yours at 608-321-1670 to your phone calls right after this.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Tonight, I mean, we play ball. Prime time, we hold defending champs to 10 points. You can't really ask too much more of the defense. And then as a defense, I feel like we playing ball right now. Back end playing really well. It's a complimentary game, though. Only one side of the ball can't come to play, and then, you know, not everybody come to play. That's just not how the NFL works. Everybody got to be a team game. So, you know, we just got to love on them boys and get ready to play next week.
That's Keyshawn Nixon just pointing out, hey, more than one half of the ball has to show up to play. I don't think he's calling out his offense there. I think he's just describing how football works. Right? It's the ultimate team sport. If I was an incendiary, provocateur type radio guy, which obviously clearly I am not, I would do something with that soundbite. Hey, sometimes you come to practice, sometimes you come to play. Defense came to play. The offense did not. I'll take your calls on the Packers. They lose 10-7. Again, I didn't have a good read on this game. I picked the Eagles when Bill and I did our picks because how am I supposed to pick the Packers? I would have been thrilled to be wrong. How am I supposed to pick the Packers based on anything that we've seen? I didn't think they'd lose 10-7. It's a bummer that they didn't win because they win that game 13-10. Today we're talking about, man, what a defensive battle. What a unique game. What a return. We saw the defense be elite again. Wouldn't that be fun? And instead we got this, which albeit I'll admit is still quite interesting. It's going to give us some good content. Your calls as promised, 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this? Hello? Line number one?
Hey, this is Ralph out of Eau Claire.
Hey, Ralph. Is the phone on the other side of the room?
Yeah.
You just put it a little closer to your mouth. Otherwise, I can hear you fine. What's up?
One thing I wanted to say is I don't understand why our kicker, who said before the game, he's not 100%, but he's getting there. And they had him kick instead of a guy that's perfect and then turns around and kicks a 61-yarder, and we have a guy that's injured. The other thing was that you talked about was that Love knew the play. They called it out against it on that last play.
Yeah.
And he said he thought they were going to run it anyways, and so he went for it. So you're right. The players are doing this.
Well, and it's not all on the players. And Ralph, that's a good call. And the kicker thing is real. Put a pin in that. I want to talk about that later. That deserves its own segment, what they've done with kicker. In the biggest of big pictures, Matt LaFleur is responsible for this all. He's the head coach. Defenses have adjusted to his offense. And over the last 4 or 5 weeks, he is yet to show that he can adjust to those adjustments. So that's on the floor. Big picture. And there's lots of problems, big picture, with his program and his team right now. But like, it's supposed to be his fault that they call an inside zone, and then the Eagles on the line of scrimmage are yelling out the play call, and Jordan Love goes, all right, snaps it and hands it off. Jordan Love, you're the one right there. You're the one hearing it. So, like, I don't know. I think Jordan Love was fine last night. A lot of people say he sucked. He was awful. I thought he was fine. In a lot of these games, he's been good enough to win, which isn't good enough. But for the sake of last night, I thought he was good enough to win. But, like, he had opportunities to make a couple plays that are winning plays, and he just didn't. And that was one where it's like, so you're just going to hand it off anyway, man? And then after the game, was that a Matt LaFleur play call? Yep. Like, well, did you not hear the defense? You could hear it on the TV copy. You couldn't hear it. You're at the line of scrimmage, bro. So again, Matt LaFleur deserves a lot of praise. I would also just like to point out that Jordan Love is far from perfect. A lot of other, Brian Gutekunst, far from perfect. A lot of players, far from perfect. And if you want to put this all on Matt LaFleur, fine, but I think you might be doing it to make yourself feel a little bit better. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Oh, Tony from Texas. Great to hear from Ralph in Eau Claire. A lot of good supper clubs in Eau Claire.
Oh, quite a few. I agree.
You know, okay. First of all, you put this eloquently, the way your monologue was there in the beginning. So, you know, when the Packers won the 2 Super Bowls in my lifetime back in 96 and 2010, they had a ton of injuries. They overcame those injuries. You know why? Because they had Hall of Fame players on that team.
Yeah.
There's no Hall of Fame players on offense right now. I like Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love's a top 10 quarterback. I think he's a good draft pick.
I think
I actually like Matt.
I think he's fine. I think he's fine to pretty good. I don't think he's the reason they're losing games. I would like for him a little bit more often to be the reason they're winning games. I think that's the problem right now with Jordan Love.
Well, when they drafted him, if you would have told me what you just said, I'd been like, yeah, I'm good at that.
Sure.
Build a team around him.
With Rodgers aging, at some point it's going to have to happen. So I don't know. Today is not the day for the Jordan Love talk. Unless you guys, I mean, you can call in and talk about what you want, but I think we agree on the quarterback.
What I'm trying to say is you can only work with what you got. And they're not – Tucker Kraft, I mean, that guy is one of the best tight ends in the league.
Do you think they win? Do you think they win the game last night with Tucker Kraft on the field? Because I kind of think they do. I honestly think if Kraft plays last night and is himself, I think they win.
Statement, yes, I do think they would. I mean, Bo Melton right in the breadbasket drops it. Wicks drops it. Dobbs drops it. And the lady friend I'm watching it with, Grant, says they got to change their gloves.
Maybe.
That's what the advice she
I mean, Melton might have to change his chest pads because that's the first thing the ball hit. I mean, it went right off his sternum.
You know, and I coach AAU, I'm all about court awareness. Well, field awareness, Mr. Melton, there's a line there. You can get this ball before it hits the goal line. You know, your foot's in the goal. I can't believe they actually call that, they were debating that call. That was obviously in the end zone. And just the little things add up. It's like the Blink-182, I'm not a Blink-182 fan, but all the small things just add up, man.
I love how you say, good call, Tony. It's the Blink-182 song. I'm not a fan, but I'm not remotely a fan, but it is their song. Yeah, and I think the small things last night, the way I see it at least, the small things started to reappear because I think this team is pressing. It's been 4 or 5 straight weeks now where they haven't really been able to take off offensively, and they're pressing and they're frustrated. So here are the drops and some messy route running and alignment issues. Now, the fact that they went to like 6-0 linemen at a certain point, and Kennard's, like that complicates things too. They tried to do some different things in protection, which was smart. It worked, but then that's an extra wrinkle. And Dobbs, covers up Kennard. He can't do it. So the big completion to Watson gets pulled back. This offense had actually been okay at the little things the last couple of weeks. Last night, I think a lot of those issues cropped back up because I think they're pressing and they're frustrated. And all of a sudden, Bo Melton is playing wide receiver. And that's just another thing. Like this coaching staff, they try to push buttons, and it just seems like they're often not pushing the right buttons, or it doesn't work. Like, all right, we're going to pull Malik Heath off, and we're going to pull Savion Williams off. Let's try Bo Melton. And then Bo Melton has a back-breaking drop. It's like, okay. I don't know. The coaching staff trying something there, making a change, making an adjustment, doesn't work. Just kind of feels like the way that it's going for this team right now. All right, 2 more calls here before break. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this? Hello.
Hello, Ron from Chippewa Falls.
Hey, Ron. What's going on?
Hey, a lot of the same things you already said, but the big problem I have with Matt LaFleur's play calling is you drafted Zero
Golden, yeah,
who in college was awesome run after the catch, and what happened to the short slant, medium slant, deep slants? Give Jordan Love an angle. He is terrible at over the shoulder throws, but you give him an angle that he can zip it in. He looks like a superstar.
Yeah, just some underneath stuff where the guys can run. They had 39 yards after the catch last night, Ron. That's not going to cut it. Not the way you're being defended. With them sitting back, you're going to need to find a way to be better than that.
Yeah, there was multiple times that there was a receiver in between the safety and the quarterback running in stride wide open, and Jordan Love always seems to go to whatever it's called and tries to force it in, and it doesn't flow. And that was last year. The knock ahead with Matt LaFleur, you had pretty good offense, but it still didn't flow. You'd get like 4 or 5 plays, you'd be looking like gangbusters, and he'd throw something out there that would just totally screw up the whole continuity of the drive.
Yeah. Well, in this year, I think, Ron, that's been like Savion Williams. Like, all right, let's bring him in and do a little pop pat or a bubble screen. It's like, no, it's been going great, just throwing the ball down the field. Why do we got to? Yeah, I think they outthink themselves sometimes.
Don't even bring up bubble screen. What? I mean, pardon my language, but man, throw the bubble screen out and insert a bunch of slants, and I think we'll be fine. But I think everybody calling for, and I guess I've thrown a couple of comments out there on social media, that it's time for Matt LaFleur to be done. But I think he's a great play designer, but play caller, he just doesn't have it.
Those are two different things. Those are two different things, Ron. I think that's a great point. Thanks for listening up in Chippewa Falls. Call again. Play designer, play caller, 2 different things. Offensive coordinator, head coach, 2 different things. And look, Who among us hasn't posted some strong commentary on social media around? That doesn't count. You're giving mulligans on that. Anything we tweet, anything we post, that's fine. The underneath stuff, the intermediate passing stuff, they don't have a lot of guys that are geared for that. Dobbs, but then Dobbs gets hurt and leaves the game late. They had one yards after the catch guy, and that was Kraft. And I seriously think if Kraft plays last night, they probably win. An additional 4 or 5 completions, big time yards after the catch. You see Musgrave go down on that third down late in the game. I mean, it's Richard Rodgers all over again, man. I can't stand that guy. The difference between Kraft and everybody else they have is just massive. And that goes back to what Tony in Texas said. Where are the Hall of Famers on offense? You lose a Ryan Grant, that's fine. Greg Jennings and Jordy Nelson are there to pick up the slack. Or if you lose Jermichael Finley, it's fine. Donald Driver is there. You don't really have any trustworthy guys that you can count on every week to show up and carry the freight. And this is kind of what I said yesterday, and I was bringing this up a couple weeks ago. It's like, guys, should we really be expecting this group of players to be scoring 40 consistently? I like Dobbs. I like Watson. I like Golden, but they're all just a bunch of players that I kind of like. I don't love any of them. None of them are surefire things week after week after week. All right, one more call here, and then we'll go to break. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Denny from Holman.
Hey, Denny, what's going on?
Hey, I think that the defense should be commended
Agreed.
for playing lights out. And, they were getting tired, but you would too if the offense did how many 3-and-outs?
Especially early.
No rest at
the
all.
fact that they were able to pitch a
Early.
shutout in the first half was incredible given how long they were on the field.
It is, and I'm not going to rain on the parade. I'm going to say that they lost 3 games by 9 points. Sure, they're the teams that they should probably not have lost to.
Yeah.
But the next schedule's 5 games they got, in the division yet.
It's all right in
And
front
if
of them.
they take care of business, they're going to be okay. But if they flounder and they continue to play like they're doing, it's like, why don't they roll Love out? Why don't they go to a no huddle? Why don't they try to do a couple screen passes?
Under center, hard play action. Feels like it works a good amount when they do it.
Right. I agree. And I think they need to have Narvasek as the kicker.
Narvasek?
I really do. Yeah, I do.
Well,
because I don't think McManus is rested up. I really don't.
Well, he told the broadcast, I think he told Troy and Joe as much, right? And I got to go to break, Denny. We're a little bit behind. I apologize. I just... The kicker thing we're going to do in a later segment. Well, maybe we'll do that at 4:45 or at 5 o'clock. That deserves its own segment, the way that's been handled. Because again, we're looking at all these things through a Matt LaFleur lens. What's nice, and Denny, we'll talk more about this later in the week, but I'll give you 30 seconds on it. What's nice about the way the rest of the season shakes out is you have all the games in your division remaining. It's all right in front of you, which is something that, Aaron Boone famously says. It's maybe a red flag or a kiss of death, but it is all right in front of them. And the rest of the season will be decided by Matt LaFleur's ability or inability to react and come up with new material to go against defensive coordinators who have clearly figured the Packers out. And if he does it, the season will turn around, and great, he's the guy. And if not, well, then there's your answer. And as Matt Schneidman and many wrote last night, Matt LaFleur's kind of now coaching for his job. We'll take one more call here. I lied. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Grant, how we living?
Excellent.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, Vagabond John. How are you living? You were at the game last night.
Yeah, a little hungover, but Lambeau was electric. Great crowd.
It looked really cool. It looked like a cool atmosphere.
There's something a little special about the crowd last night. They must have had an extra bump. Those guys must be extra passionate. You know what I mean, Grant?
I know what you mean.
Gold package guys.
Yeah, it's funny. I saw some complaining about the gold package today. I mostly just ignore that in 2025.
Yeah, it is what it is. Hey, real quick on this game. I don't know who's saying it's all on Matt LaFleur or all on Jordan Love. I think we've had questions about the limitations of both, and I think they're glaring this season.
Yeah.
My thing is, you and I talked a little bit back in August, after Matthew Golden is drafted, all of these receivers are pretty much all fighting for additional contract years. And we kind of had the conversation of hey, what happens when it goes south? And what happens when they all start fighting for reps? And I look back at that and I just kind of laugh to myself, because how irrelevant is that conversation? There's not a single receiver on this roster right now, outside of maybe Jaden Reed, if he can come back and get healthy, or Matthew Goldman, if he can pick it up. There's not a single guy that's worth more than $10 million a year. There's nobody on this roster where you can say, yes, absolutely give him $20 million a year. Doesn't need to be the highest paid, but definitely a solid veteran that we want to retain. I think the entire receiving room is on notice for me. And then I don't understand how you keep a kicker who's 10 for 10 on the season on his kicks and extra points on the sideline when you're at the 40-yard line. This is like a Ben Kenny Big Ten West joke, like punting from your opponent's 40 in the Lord's year of 2025.
I did think of Ben
close
Kenny.
game.
I did think of Ben Kenny last night watching that. I won't lie. I did think of Ben.
That's just all I got. Like I was sitting there in the stadium, we were kind of yelling about it. How do you punt twice in a close defensive match from your opponent's 40 when there's a guy that just kicked a 61-yarder? That's like a 55, 56-yard field goal, Grant. That's not even hitting his max range. And it's a little cold, but it's not windy. So that was bewildering to me. We saw college teams kick further field goals than our NFL team, and we've lost now 3 games because of that. So I know we don't like to talk kickers, but we got to figure something out there.
No, I don't like talking kickers, but I think Vagabond John, appreciate the call. In this game, the kicking operation or the decisions made around kicker are a reflection of the head coach and his process. And that to me is interesting. I do want to talk about that. And it's maddening. They get in opponent territory. They can't do anything. Over the last 2 games, they've been in opponent territory 11 times. They've scored 20 points. It's awful. So we could talk about the kicker next. Maybe we'll do that to close out the hour. I actually want to talk about their skill position players next because I think that's a conversation that's flying way too low under the radar. Under Jordan Love, under Matt LaFleur, in previous weeks, under the defense. And I think the skill position group is something that we got to talk about next.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 5 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 4 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Can't trust the Green Bay Packers, and you can trust the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I need to be a little quiet because my 1.5-year-old daughter's sleeping upstairs, and if I wake her up, that would be really, really bad. As far as the game goes, Green Bay's got all these pass catchers, and that's great if they're all good. None of them are very good. They're all just guys. Jordan Love's not playing with a lot of confidence. He's tap dancing in the backfield like he's motherfucking Fred Astaire. The coach has no confidence right now in his quarterback, and the coach is coaching like he's on tilt, like he lost a big hand to blackjack, and now he's playing poker, going all in with 2-7 off suit. It's brutal stuff for the Green Bay Packers, and the Eagles just win games. And the quarterback might not put up huge stats, but I trust Jalen Hurts in big spots. I bet the Eagles tonight. I feel awesome about it. I can trust the Eagles, and I feel like right now I can't trust Green Bay.
So that's Nick Costos, You Better You Bet. This is one of my favorite people. He's always good for a good rant. The part of that I'm most interested in, and the reason I played it, the Green Bay has all these pass catchers, and they're all just kind of guys. That's all they are. Christian Watson's had a hot streak that first year with Rodgers. He had a legit-ass run as a wide receiver 1. And Romeo Doubs has some nice moments, and then he drops a ball. It's like, man, really would have liked you to get that one. And Wicks will just brick one every once in a while. Golden I really like, but he's hurt last night. They haven't really found a way to get him the ball. I have never been more out on Luke Musgrave. I've been out on Luke Musgrave for 2 years. I like Josh Jacobs, but he's banged up and his line can't block for him. So Packers fans, I know, well, when will they play a full 4-quarter game? When are they going to be consistent on offense? With this group, I don't know. We're going to hold our breath on that? What are we waiting for? And it's frustrating. He talks about the Eagles. This season in a vacuum, the Packers and the Eagles are not that different. The Eagles have not blown doors every week. The Eagles have not looked awesome every week, but you know what? They're 7-2. And if the Packers were 7-2 or 8-1, as they very easily could be, we would look at them differently. We'd say, well, they don't blow doors every week, but they've taken a real step as a team. They've grown and matured to win some of these close games, but they haven't done that. So not only have we not seen their high end very often, we can't trust them to beat bad teams or to win close games. It's a really tough spot to be in. It's a really, really tough spot to be in. All right, I'm going to take a phone call here. We're going to get to the kicker in the last 10 minutes of the hour here. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Little Red Riding Hood.
Hey, Dave.
Okay. I got 2 questions were answered last night. One, when I asked the question about 2 weeks ago, does Love have the authority to audibilize? We all now know the answer is no. Because I heard it when you guys played the clip today.
Mm-hmm.
You can hear the defense yelling the play out.
Yeah, I'll give that
and
to
I'm
you.
sitting here as a professional. I'm thinking to myself, okay, Jacob, you hear this? You stay in the shotgun. You don't go up under center. Love it. You don't go up under center and change the play.
You run the exact play they're calling out. Yeah.
Oh, my God. I mean, the play action there. But again, that now answers my question of why they're so sloppy, because he's not allowed to audibilize.
Is it that he's not allowed or that he just won't? I think the second thing is worse. I bet he has the autonomy to do things.
He's not allowed. He's not. If he was allowed to do it, his teammates, he would have done it in that situation last night. The whole world seen that he has no authority. And my other big complaint was, like I said, told Ebo this morning was, well, first of all, the coach for Philadelphia, he's the one that should be fired. 4th down and 8 on the 35, and you decide to throw a ball to the end zone, incomplete. And so I'm sitting there going, okay, who's the idiot now, LaFleur or you? And then your first play coming out of that is a 50-yard bomb.
Yeah.
Next play is 19 yards, and then the time runs out. And I'm thinking to myself, I mean, and then here's a question for you. And I know you know how I feel about Mike Clemens, that ass clown who blocked me because I dare ask if he has ketchup or mustard on his hot dog. I mean, all these questions listeners have are great questions. I mean, they're all questions everybody wants to know. Is Clemens or anybody actually asking these questions in the press? Because these are great questions callers have.
So
and you guys have. Is anybody asking them?
So last night, Matt Schneidman did ask, Dave, I appreciate it. Matt Schneidman did ask, do you feel like you're coaching for your job? There seems to be, there's a cry from Packers fans at the Packers beat of why do you never hold Matt LaFleur's feet to the fire? Why do you never ask him the tough questions? Why do you never make him uncomfortable? To me, it's not a matter of making a coach uncomfortable or going after a coach. It's asking the questions that need to be asked, right? So, like, we aired Matt LaFleur's presser earlier in Bill's show. Well, actually, no, we didn't. We actually didn't. We took calls for like 4 hours. So I heard some clips of some things that Matt LaFleur had to say. It's not about a reporter like trying to beat up a coach. It's just sometimes there's a game where a situation in the game like went sideways and it needs to be explained. So you want to ask about it. I think yesterday's game, so the Packers offense has been so bad for a couple of weeks. So we're keying in on that. If you just watch last night's game in a vacuum with no experience, no background on either team, I think you would come away from that game thinking, wow, those are two awesome defenses. I think both defenses played great, and that's being lost a little bit in all of this. Yes, the Packers offense needed to be better, and so did the Eagles. But I think a big part of last night's story that we're just kind of setting to the side is how good both of the defenses were. And there were also a couple of moments for both teams where it's like 4th and 8 on the 48. And you're like, okay, just about every possible move sucks here. Like if we go for it, it's not great. If we kick it, it's not great. If we punt it, it's not great. And it would be easy to beat up on LaFleur or Sirianni for choosing to go for it, choosing to kick. But sometimes in football, there's just an outcome on a certain point in the field where it's like, yeah, kind of anything you do really isn't ideal. So you do the thing that seems less crappy. And I think that was a part of last night's game too. So with the Eagles going for it late, I probably wouldn't have done it exactly that way. But what, are they supposed to kick a field goal? Even if they make it, which is not a guarantee in those conditions, they're still only up 6. So it's not like they ice the game. Yeah, you could say go for it, but go for it, but don't take a shot. Well, they had a one-on-one to, I think it was A.J. Brown. There's worse things to do. There were a couple of instances. I think the Packers went for it on a 4th and 8 or a 4th and 9. Sometimes you don't have a perfect option, so you just got to pick one and go for it. And to the Packers' credit, isn't that the 4th and 9? That's the one that bounced right off Bo Melton's chest. Like, I don't know. Sometimes that's football. That's baseball, right? 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, Grant, Clement.
Hey, Clement. Hey, by the way, and I should have said something already, Clement. Happy Veterans Day, and thank you for your service. And to anyone else who is listening, thank you very much for what you've done. I should have said that earlier.
Thanks, Grant. I got so much free stuff today. That's why I missed the first part of the show. I was getting free lunch at Pizza Ranch and free coupon for a meal at Texas Roadhouse, and I got a whole bunch of free groceries at Festival. I'm just putting out these names there so people will know maybe they still got some stuff there. And that's why I was late to the first part of the show.
It's a pretty good reason to be.
I got home late.
Free. Nobody appreciates free food more than me. So you're preaching to the choir here.
I never saw so many old guys in one spot before, and I felt like I was back in the service again. But I know that. Well, I've told you before. I've been watching the Packers since 1968 when we got cable, and I missed the good years. I hadn't listened to those on the radio, but last night's game was a real travesty. I don't think I've seen a game that bad in a long time. And do you think, like, I don't know if you mentioned it because I missed the first part of the show, if those passes, some of those really good throws to the Packers receivers had been caught, I think we're talking about a totally different outcome today. I don't. And I know you and I we're Matt LaFleur defenders for a long time, and I'm not a defender anymore because I don't think he's the answer. But one more thing, famous Dave from Monona, he sounds so much different on the phone. I was listening. I was on hold waiting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he's been right all these years. We've been ripping on him, and he's been right about Matt LaFleur this whole time. So we need to give him some credit.
I've said, well, I'm always, and again, happy Veterans Day. Thank you for your service, Mike. I've said about Dave. Dave doesn't do himself any favors because Dave's right about a lot of stuff. He just presents it in such a way, right? Here's the problem. You mentioned the drops. Is Jordan Love, I'm speaking in the vaguest terms possible just to make a point here. So these numbers aren't going to be accurate, but Jordan Love's going to make about 7 out of every 10 throws. And these Packers wide receivers are going to make like 7 out of every 10 catches. And the O-line is going to block like 7 out of every 10 times. The problem is, one of the times that Jordan Love makes a great throw is one of the times that one of these knucklehead receivers drops it. And then one of the times that Jordan Love misses a throw, it's like, well, that was probably the one that Dontavian Wicks was going to catch. We didn't have an option, right? Okay, on this play, the O-line blocks it up, but Josh Jacobs slips or the play goes wrong or there's a penalty. Like, they're snake bit with timing. And they make too many mistakes, right? Mistakes start to beat you and mistakes start to align if you make so many of them. And I think last night, when you're playing Bo Melton and when you're running 6-0 linemen, there's some formational things and procedural things that probably got a little complicated. But also, I think this offense is just pressing. Really going all the way back to the Bengals game, they've been dealing with this too high look, and I think defenses have really started to key and started to take some things away from them. And they're pressing, and they're frustrated. So here come the drops, and now guys are running into each other, and Josh Jacobs is turning to the right instead of the left. And it's like, I think they're pressing. Let's take one final break. We'll talk about the kicker situation for a couple minutes to wrap up hour number 1.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
You don't have a long-term extension. With the way things have gone this season, do you think you're coaching for your job there?
I'm not. I'll leave that for everybody else to decide. I'll just focus on the day-to-day, and I feel like you're always coaching for everything in this league. You know, that's just my mindset. It's always been that way. You know, you can't ever exhale. You got to always be pushing, and that's just my mindset. So, and that will be my mindset until they tell me not to coach anymore.
Oh, you heard some buzzwords in there that you normally hear when a coach is on his way out or not doing too hot. Whenever I hear, well, that's for you guys to write about. Or when I hear, I'm going to keep doing this until they tell me not to anymore. Oh, no. Oh, no. Those are the buzzwords. Those are all the phrases on the coach is about to be fired bingo card. He is right in the middle, and in the middle of that cut, he said something. I'll replay it here. And this is anytime someone's asked, like, is Matt LaFleur on the hot seat? I've kind of communicated this point.
I feel like you're always coaching for everything in this league.
I agree. Even the best coaches are 2 bad months away from being on the hot seat. That's how the league works. And Matt LaFleur is clearly not exempt. The kicker situation, we can roll this over into the second hour. I don't think they lost yesterday because of kicker, or their kicker situation did not prevent them from winning yesterday. By the time they were kicking a 65-yarder, a 67-yarder, or whatever towards the end of the game, the game was mostly already lost. So for everyone who's, pissing and moaning, well, they should have thrown a Hail Mary instead of kicking, whatever. It's a 50-50 proposition either way. You are heaving up a prayer, whether by foot or by arm at that point. The fact that you don't trust McManus to go and kick a 56 or a 59-yarder, if you can't trust him to kick that, then why is he your kicker? Especially when you're keeping the other kicker on the roster, albeit not active. I don't really care to talk about kicker. It does not interest me. I don't think it makes for good radio. I do like to talk about the head coach and the head coach's process and the head coach's decision-making, and how they've handled this kicker thing is an extension of that. I feel like when he first got hurt, they were so careful. And Matt LaFleur talked about, we're really concerned. I don't want him to re-aggravate this. I want him to be good. So they sat him down for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, however long it was. They let Haversack kick, and Haversack was great. And then they brought McManus back. And ever since then, we've heard, he's working through some stuff. And then Aikman and Buck let it slip on the broadcast that McManus told him before the game, this is kind of the first time I've actually felt right. Well, if we were so concerned about his health, why was he ever brought back, or why was he brought back when he was brought back? Especially because Haversack was making everything. It just doesn't make sense. It just seems like a series of bad decisions, or decisions that don't connect. And something that I really got tired of hearing over the previous 2 games, the Panthers and the Steelers, it's like, hey, is McManus working through something? Is he okay? Is he healthy? No, sometimes kickers just miss. Okay, well, that's also bad for another reason, that you're continuing to run out a kicker who can't make kicks. No, he's healthy. Sometimes kickers just miss. Okay, well, then put the health thing to the side. Now we need to talk about this, because your other kicker did nothing but make kicks and set a franchise record. So again, I don't care to talk about kickers, but I will talk about kickers if it reflects one way or another on the coach and their decision-making. And I think the way they've handled McManus and Haversack definitely does. And not in a good way. Throw it onto the pile. We'll get a 2-minute update here. Zach Heilprin, no commercials. We're not going anywhere. Just the latest in Wisconsin sports. Be right back. We'll reset hour number 2 and get right back to your phone calls and talk more Packers.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Packers are picking up the pieces after another ugly offensive effort last night in a 10-7 loss to the Eagles. It was the team's 3rd loss in which they did not score more than 13 points. They're actually less than 10 points away from being unbeaten this year, in large part because the defense has been dominant. But edge rusher Micah Parsons says he still believes in the offense.
Yeah, my confidence is still high. I got Jordan Love at quarterback. I got Josh Jacobs at running back. And we banged up at wide receiver, but we still got Dobbs, Wicks. We got the weapons. Don't hesitate. We got the talent.
The Packers are nursing more injuries after the game, including a fractured leg for center Elton Jenkins that has landed him on injury reserve. Romeo Doubs also left last night's game with an injury. Green Bay on a short week as they get ready to head to New York to face the Giants on Sunday. Turning to the Badgers, they're also on the road this week as they head to Bloomington to face number 2 Indiana. Hoosiers currently 29.5-point favorites in the game. First time Wisconsin has been an underdog to Indiana since 1993. Kick on Saturday is set for 11.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
When a company only does business in Wisconsin, that's Wisconsin Strong. Rural Mutual provides all lines of insurance, including commercial, farm, home, and auto. And your premiums stay right here to keep Wisconsin strong. Local agents, local underwriters, local claims adjusters.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, number 24, Wisconsin, going to look to move to 3-0 on the year tonight as they host Ball State at the Kohl Center. Badgers averaging 96.5 points per game through the first 2. Tip is at 7:30. And the Bucs going to be in Charlotte tomorrow night to face the Hornets. They beat the Mavericks last night. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
It feels like he's a top 10 quarterback, but he doesn't play like a top 10 quarterback. He has those glimpses, and he's getting paid like he's a top 10, top 5 quarterback. But I'm watching last night. I kept thinking this defense is really good. That offense is not good at all. And the Eagles, you kind of carve out a win. It wasn't pretty, but they got a win, and a big win when you beat the Packers on the road. And that could be, down the road with home field advantage. But, this is really big if you're the Packers and you're leading the division to now you're third.
So I get back to the drawing board, get back to the film session, trying to find ways to figure out what we're not doing as well right now, what's kind of keeping us in a funk, and it always comes back to get back to it next week and get back to work.
This is where Wisconsin gathers to talk sports. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. The Wisco Sports Show is on the air. Now, here's your host, Grant Bills.
Dan Patrick, Jordan Love. One more time. I want to get back to taking your Packers phone calls. Said my piece about kicker. Talked about skill positions a little bit. Matt LaFleur is the headline today because he's the head coach. And I think the biggest big picture tagline or description or the headline of what's going on with the Packers right now is defenses figured out how to play against this offense and this personnel grouping. And that is ultimately Matt LaFleur's responsibility. Like, it's going to be his job to make adjustments and make tweaks to be able to counter that, and he hasn't been able to do that yet. Now, specific to last night's game, and a little bit more detailed than just the headline, it's a lot more than Matt LaFleur. It's the personnel in the O-line, skill position players, and clearly, obviously, Jordan Love. And I don't think Jordan Love is a huge part of the problem. I would like him to be a little bit more of the solution that he's been. Those are two very different things. But I don't know. I have a hard time with everyone saying, well, Matt LaFleur sucks. He needs to be fired. He's holding Jordan Love back. Man, I don't know about that. He needs to be better at finding adjustments and finding tweaks and finding counters because defensive coordinators have countered him and his offense, and that's Matt LaFleur's job. To say that he's got handcuffs on Jordan Love, well, Jordan Love would just be the MVP. This Packers defense would be, undefeated. This Packers team would be undefeated if Matt LaFleur would just let Jordan Love cook. I'm like, man, I don't know. I've seen Jordan Love with plenty of opportunities to cook. And sometimes he does, but a lot of times he doesn't. And again, I don't think he's the thing preventing them from winning games, but I want him to be, a little bit more often the vehicle that is winning them games. We haven't seen that. All right, back to your phone calls. Anything Packers, anything from yesterday's game. 608-321-1670. Thank you for waiting through the break here. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks. My name's Tony from Sussex.
Hey, Tony. You've called Bill's show
All
a bunch.
right,
I know
and
you, Tony.
Yeah, I do. Bill's got a great show, too. I like Bill. But here, and I may be thinking a little different than other people. God, the sky is falling. I just can't believe it, okay? Now, this is the way I look at it. These other defensive coordinators are handling or scheming for the Packer offense different because everybody knows that the Packers don't have an offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So they know they like to run, and they don't have that offensive line. What? The offensive line doesn't allow them to run. I even heard someone say, maybe maybe Josh Jacobs has lost a step this year. He didn't lose a step. The problem with Josh Jacobs is he's got no line half the time in front of him. A lot of that stuff he does on his own. We saw that last night.
Yep.
And also for pass blocking, I think Jordan Love was pressured 13 times. You know, he's not at that level yet where he can handle a big rush. When he's got time, he'll tear them up, okay? So I think this whole thing, and everybody's talking about getting Matt LaFleur's head, you can bring back Vince Lombardi from the dead, and the Packers would be the same way, okay?
Yeah.
What you need to do is, what needs to happen, and they need to shore up that line. Somehow they got to find 5 guys that can play together and play consistently. The Packers role was known to have great offensive lines, right?
Yeah,
Especially
Tony.
when they had
This feels like their
Bakari,
worst
Green.
offensive line, and I don't know the last time they had an offensive line this poor.
Of course. So what does that do? That allows the defense to cheat because they know these guys aren't good.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not great on the offensive line. So it's harder to pass. Okay, you can't run your passing game when you're constantly, you don't have no time to throw. So what do? You got to adjust maybe what you do. And LaFleur, I suppose, has to do a better job of doing some maybe 2-step drop quicks, keeping the defense a little more honest because he's not going to get that. But for these people saying that, LaFleur should be fired, even Bill said he's on the hot seat. LaFleur's not on the hot seat. A lot of these players are on the hot seat.
Well, they should be.
That's how I look at it. I think he's a great coach, and I think Green Bay would be idiots to get rid of. Who are they going to bring in? Who's going to is some guy going to come in and all of a sudden the offensive line is going to be good?
No, I agree with you. I mean, they would be an
block.
idiot to do it now. It might get to a point where at the end of the year it might make sense. I might get you there,
Right.
Tony.
And we talk.
Go ahead.
One more thing. We talk about clock management, things like that. I watch these other NFL games. All the coaches are the same. Everybody screws that up.
Every fan base is mad all of the time. Yeah. Yeah, correct.
Exactly. But great show. But I want to say, you cure that line, you cure what's the ills of the Green Bay Packers on offense. Because we do have, to me, we got a Super Bowl defense.
Tony, is 83 northbound off 94 open yet? It still blows my mind that was closed like the entire year. Why did it take them so long? That's not that long of a highway, and it was just never open at all this summer.
North of where?
Like north, like Delafield into Heartland.
Oh,
Why was
I
that?
know what
That
you
was closed
mean.
the entire summer.
I think I avoid it. I know it was like that all summer. I avoid it. I'm more east of that.
Yeah, you're a
of
little farther
83. We're farther east than Sussex, but I was out to Delafield today, and I went on 83 off of 16, and that's fine. And I went all the way to where I had to go. But once you go north, you're right. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, with the winter coming, it'll be fixed. But
That was very
great
annoying.
show.
Thank you, Tony. I appreciate the call. I'm just curious. That's not that long of a stretch of highway. I don't know why it was closed. It felt like years, and there's no good way around it. You can take 16. Whatever. I just wanted to talk Lake County or Lake Country highways with Tony. Tony calls Bill's show all the time. Thank you for calling, Tony. It was a great call. The O-line, yeah. Tony, I think there's some sneaky reason for optimism right now. We got another caller here. I'll get to you in 60 seconds. Packers fans, here's the angle, okay? The defense looked like a Super Bowl caliber defense last night. And what's annoying is if the Packers just would have been a little bit more competent on offense and they win 13-10, we're talking today about how great the defense looked and what a defensive battle it was last night. But because our team comes out on the losing side, we look through, and with good reason, we look at it through a different lens and we talk about how, bad the offense was. If they had won 13-10, we're hyped about the defense. Yeah, the offense has got to get fixed, but the Eagles have an awesome defense. So, okay, you adjust your expectations and your reaction with that in mind. And then you look at the rest of the schedule. Here's the rub, Packers fans, okay? I'm not going to tell you that they're going to figure it out and they're going to go on a run. But everything is in front of them if they want to do that. They have 5 games remaining in the division. You got the Bears twice, the Vikings twice, and the Lions on the road. And even if you can't win in Detroit, at the worst, you're splitting with the Lions and you have an opportunity to clean up against Minnesota and Chicago. And Chicago won yesterday. they're not blowing me away. Minnesota, JJ McCarthy might stink. Justin Jefferson is actively giving up during plays. Like, these are winnable division games. So not to be Aaron Boone, it's all right in front of us, but it kind of is all right in front of them. I think they could beat Baltimore at home. I think they can go to Denver and win. That's going to be really tough. But the Raiders almost did it on a short week. So my job here is to not host a pep rally, okay, and to make you feel better. I have no clue how the rest of the season is going to go. I'm just telling you, if the Packers get their ass in line and play better, their whole schedule is right in front of them. And they're not doomed because they lost last night to end up the 7th seed or a wild card. It's all still right in front of them. You can pick whether or not you believe they're going to get it going. I have no clue. I'm not even going to waste my time. We'll just watch the games and then I'll talk about them after the fact. But there's still plenty of reason. If you think this team can play better, there's still plenty of reason for optimism because the schedule is, again, Aaron Boone. It's right in front of us. All right, back to the call. 608-321-1670, Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Yeah, it's Darnell the Chum.
I thought this might be you, Darnell. What's up?
Hey, I mean, I love to hear the optimism snatched from the jaws of the pessimistic Wisconsin radio, just sports fear, right?
I mean, I think it's there. There's an optimistic angle there.
Yeah, I mean, there's an optimistic angle because they're 5-3-1. You know, they're not 4-6, and they have to run the table to make the playoffs.
They were 3-6 2 years ago. For everyone who's like, well, when is Matt LaFleur has never shown he can turn around? He literally showed it 2 years ago when the team was in a way worse spot. Again, I'm not telling you it's going to happen, but we saw it not that long ago.
Also, has anybody brought up the fact that Toyotathon is coming up very soon?
I did see some tweets about that. I have not brought that up, but you are correct in that, yes.
Which, you know, means that Jordan Love will start playing like an MVP just as soon as that happens, which he has really for both of his starting years. He's been just insane at the end of November and December. So
correct.
Hopefully that continues. I mean, it still feels like a team that's on the precipice. I can't get over how bad their offensive line has looked, really, all year.
That's the tough part. It's like, okay, even if they figure out some of these other things, can you win playoff games with an O-line that's this poor?
And it doesn't even seem like they have bad players on their line. They feel out of position, like completely out of position.
I think Banks might be bad. I think Morgan might be bad. Ryan actually looked better at center than Elton Jenkins did once he took over there last night. Or it felt better. I don't know. I'll have to check the old 22. I don't know.
But even Morgan, they didn't draft him to play guard. So I don't understand it. I really don't. I don't get when we talk about like the coaching staff and well, LaFleur needs to be fired. I am not a fan of the current scheme that he's running. I don't really know what else he can do when Jordan Love gets less than 2 seconds to throw the ball. You know what I mean? Like you can't scheme up plays like that. And Jordan Love has been pretty good this year, but he's not Aaron Rodgers in his prime where he could just pull 35-yard,
flick of the wrist.
Right, exactly. Out of his butt. Like people can't do that. That's not normal. And we watched it be normal for practically 20 years, right? So it's sad to see people just kind of turn on the team like this, but I also get I get where it's coming from. Okay. I do. They were supposed to be really good this year, and they just haven't really looked like that yet. So, it's fine. I think they'll figure it out. I mean, they can't. The offense can't get much worse. Let's put it that way.
Well, correct. I mean, they've lost games now. Appreciate it, Darnell. To the Panthers, to the Browns, and to the Eagles, giving up 16, 13, and 10 points. So on average, 13. The emergency brake or the engine brake on all of this is like, yeah, even if this, and that starts to go right, like, is this an O-line that can win multiple playoff games? And it's hard to see. And it's not like they haven't, the frustrating thing is it's not like they haven't invested in it. They drafted Belton in the second round, Morgan in the first. They paid Aaron Banks a bunch of money. Everyone now wants to look back and say, well, you never should have moved Elton Jenkins. I was fine moving Elton Jenkins. Josh Myers sucked. It's not that they haven't invested picks and money in the O-line. It's just that the picks and the money hasn't worked out. So that's a Brian Gutekunst thing. For everyone who says, fire LaFleur. Yeah. Matt LaFleur, head coach. I understand. It starts with him. But it's not just him. Stop saying that it is just to make yourself feel better. And we just fire the head coach. It'll be fine. Yeah. You know what fan bases say that? Fan bases with bad quarterbacks. We just got to fire Jason Garrett. We just got to fire Mike McCarthy. And then Dak Prescott will win playoff games. Okay, sure. And I'm not saying Jordan Love is Dak Prescott. I'm just saying that's the other fan bases who say such things and operate that way and tell themselves those things to fall asleep at night. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
This is Louie in Eau Claire.
Hey, what's going on, Louie?
Hey, Grant. Thanks for taking my call.
Of course.
Packers Twitter is somewhat toxic, somewhat entertaining, but I still can't help myself. I see a lot of things either from Aaron Nagler or a lot of people kind of similar of his ilk saying that Matt LaFleur is coaching the team that he wants to have instead of the team that he does have, which I concur with.
I think a lot. And to be fair, I bet a lot of coaches fall into that sometimes. You know what I mean?
I agree. I'm kind of wondering, though, do you think it's possible there's some sort of, I don't want to say discord, but kind of a disconnect between Goody and LaFleur then? With kind of, if LaFleur has one vision and Goody has another vision, do you think it's possible that that's not quite matching up? Or is it just a case of some of the draft picks haven't hit and some of the players haven't developed as much as they would have hoped?
I think that's probably part of it. I just, watching Jordan Morgan, I don't know that he's that good. One question that I have with personnel and scheme, especially on the O-line, is, Louie, it seems like they want to get beefier and stronger, and they want to run more duo, and they want to run the ball up the gut, right? Because Banks is a grinder, and Belton is a big-ass effing dude, right? So we want to get meatier. And that's never how they've operated. They look for Jason Spriggs and David Bakhtiari and skinny athletic guys. So they draft all these road graders, and they're still in the shotgun, and they're in the pistol all the time, and they're spread out. So, why make a personnel shift on the line and not have that be reflected in scheme? That's my disconnect. And I don't know if that's a Goody LaFleur thing. I don't know where that starts, but that hasn't made sense to me this year.
Yeah, and I guess I harken back to that when Goody was saying, well, it's time to compete for championships. While he's not saying that his roster isn't good enough, it's almost, to me, it was saying, well, there needs to be a development and a maturing of this team that then kind of a cohesion hasn't happened to that point back in January, and I can't say it's any closer to happening now.
It doesn't feel like it, and that's another scary thing. Louie, I appreciate the call. Again, there's reason for optimism. You look at the schedule. There's also plenty of reasons for pessimism, and I think the largest one, especially as it relates to Matt LaFleur, is it kind of feels like last year, where you spend every week waiting for things to be cleaned up, waiting for the execution to get dialed in. You're waiting for some of the drops and the miscues and the mistakes to disappear, and you're just waiting and waiting and waiting for something that never happens. And with LaFleur specifically, last year, he never got the fourth down thing dialed in. He never got the punt kick decision dialed in. He never got the challenges dialed in. And at the end of the year, I said, bad year for Matt LaFleur, off year. Athletes have bad years. Hitters have bad years. Coaches can have bad years. I expect him to be better next year and be more of the coach that he was early in his career, decision-making wise. And he's been the same. And that's really concerning. There's plenty of reasons for concern, obviously, which is why people are all messed up today. I also think there are some reasons for optimism. And it's not my job to give you a pep rally here. I'm just trying to hint at all the little different stories and all the different little pieces of this game. Let's take a break. The show presented by In on the River in Trempealeau. I was in Trempealeau 2 weekends ago, actually. Had a drink at the Trempealeau Hotel. We went over to Centerville at the Jailhouse Saloon. What an excellent time. What an absolutely beautiful area to kick around and to spend a day, or even better, a weekend. And when you spend a weekend there, you can rest your weary head at In on the River. They're right across, literally across a quiet little road from the beautiful Mississippi. You look across and you see the bluffs. The marina is right there if you bring a boat, right? If you're a hunter, a duck hunter, what a great place to be. Holy cats. The Trempealeau Hotel around the corner, Sullivan Supper Club. If you want to do some late fall hiking at Perot, or again, hunting, fishing this time of year, no better way than to wrap up the day at Sullivan's with a nice brandy old fashioned, nice big piece of steak. And then you can go right back down the road. You can even walk it if you'd like, back to In on the River. And they'll set you up with a room for the weekend. 608-534-7784, or go online at inontheriverwi.com.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
They got to rip the Band-Aid off Jordan Love. They got to rip the handcuffs off him. This ain't a Jordan Love thing, okay? I've talked about this offense and the offensive line not being good enough. That was, once again, the case a little bit. Some of the play calling, trying to be overly creative. When I watched Jordan last night, I'm sitting there going, this is why I hate the term when people talk about in quarterback context, protect the football. Because I feel like the Packers for the last month offensively are in this let's live in this protective world. And it even is impacting the way I feel like Matt's calling the game. You're not going to be great by living in this protection world. Jordan really hasn't been this, oh my gosh, he's careless with the football player for years now. It's this narrative that was a little bit of his early on, but the protective element is forcing him to play at times so gun shy, so cautious. And I want to tell LaFleur, like, dude, you got to rip the Band-Aid off of this. Your defense is fantastic. Stop playing it so close to the vest. Stop playing it so shy. Stop getting this quarterback to be so cautious with the football.
A little bit of Dan Orlovsky. I believe that was on the McAfee show earlier today. Loaded guest rundown on the McAfee show earlier today, I saw. I'm blocked on Twitter. I try to bookmark the clips, but I can't because once upon a time, I've posted a bunch of fake pictures of Ryan Braun on the McAfee show. Whatever. Not what we're talking about. I think there's a lot of Packers fans that turned the game off last night and took to Twitter or just in their own head or in their group chats or whatever said Matt LaFleur is holding Jordan Love back. Matt LaFleur needs to let Jordan Love be Jordan Love. Matt LaFleur needs to let Jordan Love cook. And I think there's some truth to that, but maybe not in the way that Packers fans are framing it. I think Matt LaFleur needs to do the things that his offense is good at and stop doing the things that his offense is bad at. And they're not good at running, and they're not good at screens. So the things that they're good at, the things that Matt LaFleur should call more of, is passing the ball down the field. That includes Jordan Love. I think some Packers fans have it in their mind that, well, Matt LaFleur is holding Jordan Love back, and Jordan Love would be this, high-flying MVP quarterback. I don't know. Maybe if they open it up and Jordan Love throws 40 times a game, he throws 2 interceptions a game, and it's detrimental. Maybe. But what I know for sure is that what they're currently doing is not working. And it's a little bit of a vicious circle. I saw Ryan Wood tweeting about this last night and kind of jumping off of a Sean Ryan quote. This is Sean Ryan on their running game. Quote, "You have to have a run game to have a pass game, or they're just going to sit back in too high. We've got to earn the right to pass that ball a little bit." The problem is, and what the Packers are dealing with right now, it's this vicious cycle. They need to do something they're not good at, run the ball, to earn the right to do the thing they're good at, which is pass the ball down the field. But they can't do that first thing, so they're unable to do the second thing. And they haven't been able to get out of this cycle now really since the bye. Since they came out of that Cowboys game, and the Bengals and the Cardinals and the Steelers and the Panthers and now the Eagles. And it was expected with the Eagles because their defensive coordinator is Vic Fangio, who basically pioneered the school of defensive thinking. We're going to sit in too high and force you to inch your way down the field. And we don't think you can do it. And especially now without Tucker Kraft. I mean, they just have nobody. They have nobody who's capable of doing damage in that part of the field. And Tony and Sussex in our first segment of the hour brought this up. When the defense is sitting too high, typically, when a defense sits in some sort of no doubles defense, and I don't know the lingo, I'm not an expert. So if that's cover 2, cover 4, quarters, whatever, we're sitting back and we are playing spiritually a defense that is designed to keep you in front of us. Typically, when a defense aligns that way, they do so at the expense of stopping the run or stopping the short passing game. We will allow you to run the football a little bit. We'll allow you some underneath completions, but we're not going to let you beat us deep. The problem is the Packers are not an offense that can run the ball or throw the ball with any sort of consistency underneath or in that intermediate range. So defenses are basically getting a bonus. They're getting a freebie. We're going to sit back, which normally would hurt us in areas A, B, and C, but because the Packers suck at A, B, and C, it doesn't matter. It's like these defenses are able to play with 13 or 14 defenders on the field. That's what it amounts to. And the Packers can't break out of it. And that starts with Matt LaFleur finding some sort of a schematic counterpunch, and we haven't seen it yet. And I give them credit. They tried some things last night. They went to 6-0 linemen, which I actually think worked. It would have worked a lot better if it was Dobbs or Melton, I can't remember, lined up over Kennard, covered up an eligible tackle, which brought back the biggest play of the game, that shot to Christian Watson. It's like, of course. It would have worked better last night using a little Bo Melton instead of Malik Heath. Let's try that. Change of pace instead of Savion Williams or Malik Heath. And then he drops a crucial 4th down. Like, Matt LaFleur has tried some things. Buddy, you need a schematic counterpunch. You're going now in a month and a half where defenses come into their matchups with you and say, we know exactly what to do. And it's going to work. And they've done it, and it's worked. So it starts with Matt LaFleur. Of course, it falls on the players to be better and to execute in those moments. And again, I don't think Jordan Love is costing them games. I need him to go win some games. That's the problem. And I think last night was probably another example of that. It's like, man, your wide receivers didn't help you out. You're not being protected. I thought Jordan Love got sped up as the game went on. He just wasn't seeing things over the middle of the field because he didn't trust his protection. And to be fair to him, why would he? But if you're making, whatever he's making, I don't even know. It's some stupid amount of money. I want you to occasionally be able to go win your team a game. And I want you to deal with some pressure and be able to see the field anyways. And for the most part, in some of these close games, he hasn't really been able to do that. He hasn't been costing them games. But for a team with Super Bowl aspirations and for a guy making all that money, you want him to be a guy who can actually go and win you a game occasionally. He really hasn't done that this year, which is funny because he's put his team in positions to do that many times. He put him in a position to do that against the Panthers, put him in a position to do that against the Cowboys. And of course, those were the games where the defense couldn't hold up at the end. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's that?
This is Hector.
Hey, what's up, Hector?
Oh, not a whole lot, Grant. Just heading to grab some food quick, but wanted to just chime in on, man, just a disappointing game in general. I thought there were multiple different opportunities that they had to. The Eagles aren't a good team. They kind of have the same thing where I feel like if Jalen Hurts had to go and win the game, I feel like he could a little more than Jordan Love could, but I don't think either of them really could, and they were just relying on the defenses too much.
I think Jalen Hurts and Jordan Love are both a couple sandwiches short of a full quarterback picnic, but they're different sandwiches. They're very different players, but both of them are like, they're missing a couple of things. I'm with you. I don't think the Eagles are a great team right now. I think they're really, really talented. They're similar-ish to the Packers in a way where like the full picture week to week should probably look a little bit better than it does, but they've won some of these close games where the Packers have lost them.
Right. And at this point in the year, you kind of just want, like you just said right before you took my call, you want to.
Damn it, Hector. Sorry you dropped off. I'll give you a second here to call back if you want to finish that thought. But again, yeah, I want my quarterback to be able to go win me a game. It's not enough every week to say, well, guys, Jordan Love wasn't the problem. I don't think he was the problem last night. Drops were an issue, huge time issue. The line was an issue. Yeah, Jordan Love was not the problem last night. I think he made a couple of plays that were problematic, but I don't think he was the problem. The issue with that is it's not good enough to just not be the problem. I want you to be the reason that the team occasionally wins a game. And for reasons both in and out of his control at certain junctures in different games this season, he hasn't been able to be that guy. Hector, is this you calling back?
Grant, this is Ron.
Hey, Ron. All right. What's going on?
Not good. I'm ticked off.
You sound like it, man.
I'll tell you why. Back-to-back big home games. And if they win both these games, they're way ahead of the pack in the NFC. And 2 games in a row at home come out flat as a pancake.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the offensive line, I don't know what to retool it or something real quick, reshuffle, move some guys around. And I know this is going to sound pretty crazy. Hey, give the offensive line a kick in the butt and do something, man.
Well, they might. Well, and now they'll have to because we learned Elton Jenkins today broke his leg. I would imagine Sean Rhyan will be the center. He's got an opportunity now. And this is an interesting, Ron, and I'm going to let you go because I got to go to break. Here's an interesting wrinkle to think about. Sean Rhyan a couple of weeks ago in an interview basically said, yeah, I'm not going to be back next year. I think that reality has clocked for him. He knows that Jordan Morgan is the preferred guy. He's younger. They drafted him high. Well, don't look now. If Sean Rhyan balls out at center, the Packers don't really have a plan at center moving forward. And they're not in a position where they can just let guys go wholesale. Rasheed Walker is an unrestricted free agent. And I wrote this down. I'll throw it up on the simulcast if you're watching. Sean Ryan's unrestricted. Rasheed Walker's unrestricted. Elton Jenkins is probably gone. Aaron Banks might just suck. Sean Rhyan now might have a lane here where he's like, well, wait a minute. I thought I was for sure gone. But now I have an opportunity. If I play really well at center and help stabilize this line, maybe I have a future here. Ron, maybe that's the kick in the pants. Maybe that's the swift kick in the ass you're talking about to the O-line. Coyote Mike texted in a wrinkle of yesterday's game that we haven't covered yet. And I want to get to that. It's a Matt LaFleur thing. I want to do that on the other side of this break. And I'll continue to take your texts and your calls at 608-321-1670.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 5 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 4 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
It's Jacobs. Flag flies. It's Jacobs. Flag flies.
That audio, played it twice. That's courtesy of Mike Clemens. Inside zone this way. Inside zone this way. And then they went ahead and ran inside zone this way. How could Matt LaFleur? Well, I don't know, man. Matt LaFleur's not the one under center. Jordan Love, you in there? Maybe don't run the play that they're specifically calling out. I want to get back to your phone calls here in a sec. I do have a text, 608-321-1670. This is from Coyote Mike. And this hasn't come up yet, but I think it's worth talking about. Grant, I thought it was a bad look on national TV for Matt LaFleur to be standing away from the sideline, hunched over his iPad. Well, technically, it's a Microsoft Surface Pro. Not important. Well, the game is in progress. Kind of like the student in the classroom trying to finish his homework assignment before he has to turn it into the teacher. That would be a big red flag for me if I was ed policy, along with all the other red flags that are flying over Lambeau this season. That's a great analogy, County Mike. Now, on some level, you may think it juvenile or silly to criticize Matt LaFleur for being off to the side on his iPad. Oh, come on. He's going through his playbook. What do you mean? I also think there's something to that. I did a podcast earlier today. I do a podcast every week with our friend Bart Winkler and our friend Paul Immig, who used to be on the Packers beat. And Bart does radio nightly on the Infinity Sports Network. We talked about this today. Paul likened this to the year where Mike McCarthy was not aware that Clay Matthews wasn't on the field at the end of the 2014 NFC Championship game because he was so enveloped in doing whatever offensive thing he did. And then next year, remember in 2015, he handed over play calling to Tom Clemens and then took it back. And, that year was a whole ordeal. The being off to the side on the Surface Pro. And what's funny is everyone's been reacting to this. I got to ask Bill about this tomorrow. Somehow this didn't come up on Bill's show. Bill has talked about this for weeks, but it's never been a big deal. He's just pointed out that when the Packers are on defense, Matt LaFleur's over to the side on his Surface Pro. He's over there on his tablet, clicking away, clicking and dragging and writing away. If you're like, that's a bad look, I know reasonably and logically it shouldn't be. It doesn't need to be. But I think it kind of is. The game's going on behind you. The football game that you're the coach of. So I want to be able to tell you, oh, no, it's fine. He's on the, what are you, an idiot? You dumb fan? That's not a big deal at all. I don't know. Kind of seems like maybe it is one. I think that's a valid criticism. 608-321-1670. Let's take another call here. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Ridge Runner, Mark. How we doing, sir?
I am excellent, Ridge Runner. How about you?
Not too shabby. Pulling into Wafer to drop off some pears, but I need to speak to you, sir.
Okay.
So to your point that you're just saying, yes, I agree with you. That's a bad look. The question I would ask is, what actually was happening behind him when the TV cut to him doing that? Was that on a commercial break? Was that during kickoff? Or was that during when the defense is on the field and the plays are running? Don't know. That's kind of a thing. The other thing I would say is big picture. I can't disagree with what I've heard so far today, what I haven't heard because I don't listen to it a lot while I'm at work. But I think Packer fans overall have to understand we have been incredibly lucky to have incredibly high quality quarterbacks, offensive teams, defensive teams throughout the years. And we seem to think that as soon as we get a glimmer or as soon as we see some success, that means sky's the limit.
Sure.
We're going to make the Super Bowl.
Hall of Fame quarterback.
And up and down all season. This season, last season, the 2023, we've run into that, and we continue to stress ourselves out when things don't go quite right. That game last night, to me, boiled down to guys making mistakes. How many times have you seen a team do illegal formation penalties more than once in a game at critical points? And it happened to the Packers twice. And is that coaching? Sure. If you want an axe to grind with LaFleur, yes, that's definitely coaching. But in reality, it's a human being hyped about a play, and just that mental little thing happens to everyone. It happens to anyone.
Keep going.
And I just think that we could all just take a deep breath. We're still 5-3-1. We still technically have a winning record. Now, if this continues for 3, 4, 5 games, at the end of the season, LaFleur's got to take a big, long look in the mirror and say, what do I need to change? And I'm hoping he does it right now. But I think
he better.
If Love doesn't have time, that's his big flaw right now. Is if he doesn't have time, his internal clock speeds up. And he doesn't look at his progressions. I mean, I think he was blind to some of those players because he had ginormous Eagles defensive linemen in his face or running down on him that he couldn't see people.
There were guys open last night. And Ridge Ryan, I'm going to cut you off there because you gave us so much good stuff. There were guys in the middle last night that towards the end of the game he missed. And I think he was sped up and he just wasn't seeing it all correctly. Look, the procedural penalties and the drops and all those little mental mistakes, if you want to put that on the coach, that's fine. That club is in your bag. You can grab it. I don't know what's fair to connect and what's not. Ultimately, it's the head coach. You can put anything on the head coach you want. Failure to prepare to fail. It's Monday through Friday. What are you doing at practice? All that stuff. I also think, what do you want Matt LaFleur to do? You want him to run out there and catch the ball for Bo Melton? So I really struggle to figure out exactly how much to put on the head coach. And by the way, Ridge Runner, if this season ends the way that it's going currently, Matt LaFleur's not taking a long, hard look at anything other than a real estate listing because he ain't going to be here. I think now he is in full-fledged coach for his job mode. So the long, hard look should be happening now. It should have been happening 2 weeks ago when it was clear that the league had a beat on how to stop this team, even before they lost Tucker Kraft. Now we even need to be looking harder and longer and more. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Eric on 990.
Good evening, Eric.
Good evening, Grant. You really think LaFleur's on that big of a hot seat?
I think it's trending that way. No, I don't think he's on that big of
Really?
a hot seat. But at this point, yeah, I do.
Well,
And I don't think
we're
I don't
over-
think it's that crazy. I think it's fairly reasonable.
I think that you Packer fans are spoiled and just welcome to the party. This is an average NFL game, all right? And you got an excellent defense. This is just how it goes. It's just how it goes.
Okay.
So I think you got to just settle down. It's not that big a deal. Nah. You're going to come back. You got a good schedule ahead of you.
Well, and that's the thing. The rest of the season, they got 5 division games left. So if the Packers want to win the division and get a home game in the playoff, it's all right in front of them. It's all right there. It's not like anything is decided yet. And by the way, it's not my job to host a pep rally here, Eric, but isn't that part of the fun? That's part of the adventure and the journey of a season.
It is. And so are these games, though. These games are part of the journey, and that's what brings you up when you overcome. So you're going to split with the Bears. You probably split with the Vikings. I don't think Baltimore is as big a pushover as you think. Yeah, you're gonna. I say you're gonna go the rest of the season, but you're gonna end up over just over 500.
So what,
right where you're at right now?
10-6-1.
Right where you're at right now. I think you're gonna end up pretty much right where you're at, and I think Detroit wins the division. Sorry, dude.
You don't have to apologize to me.
Sorry, dude.
You don't have to apologize to me, Eric. I appreciate it. You got to find a way. You were talking about splitting with the Vikings and the Bears. You got to find a way to sweep one of those two teams. You have to. And I don't even really care which one it is. But it's not good enough to split against both and probably lose in Detroit. If you split versus Minnesota, sweep the Bears, and win in Detroit, well, we have a division. You get a little help. You don't need a ton of help. You'd need a little help. I think you beat Baltimore at home. I think that's a game that the Packers should win. That's a game that I expect them to win. I'm not saying they're a pushover. I think they're better than Baltimore. I think a lot of teams are better than Baltimore, but I'm not that high on the Ravens. We got a couple calls here. We got to whip through them. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hello.
Hello. Yes.
Hey, this is Sky from Ladysmith.
Hey, Sky. Hey, up in Ladysmith. Hell yeah. What's going on?
Hey, not too bad. I haven't talked to you since about right before the Brewers-Dodgers stuff, so sadness there. Yeah, a couple points I just want to make. Where's the other kicker, first and foremost?
On the roster, but inactive on game day.
Yeah, I guess with McManus still bothered by a leg injury, they keep saying, why wouldn't you have him there? He's missed, 2 or 3 field goals in the last couple games?
Mm-hmm.
I get the 60-40 yard, whatever. That was just hope and a prayer, and maybe he'll make it. But I think you still got to have that other guy on there and start taking a look at him. Other point is, you made a great point with Love. He's not winning us games. He's not losing us games. He's just kind of there. And again, that's our O-line. So first and foremost, and then I know it was an analysis call. I think it was Buck or whatever, where Love could have thrown to the left on that deep pass and he didn't lead him or whatever. But to me, is that on the route anyway? Like, is that the receiver? Same with, what was it, Watson pretty much getting doinked in the head on that one where he pretty much is trying to stop the interception. If he just turns his head, he has a chance to catch it. Let me know your thoughts on the receivers and like things like that.
I think it's little things. Appreciate it. Sky right up in Ladysmith. Thanks for the call. Yeah, the Watson ball hit him right in the back of the dome. I was listening. I was driving home. I had just gotten home. I listened to that play in the car, and it sounded like, Watson had to break the ball up. I just assumed it was underthrown. And then I saw the play later. I'm like, actually, it seemed like a pretty good throw. I don't know. He just never had a good read on it. I don't know, man. Wicks had missed a lot of time. Melton hasn't played much wide receiver in games this year. So the routes probably aren't going to be perfect. They had guys running into each other. It's a details thing. It's a Monday through Friday thing. And again, you want to put that on coaching, you're more than welcome to do that. I don't know how much or how strongly, but ultimately it all falls under Matt LaFleur's umbrella. Okay, one more call, then we'll take our last break. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, Grant, Tommy and Madison.
Hey, Tommy, what's up?
Remember when we had too crowded of a wide receiver room and we had to decide who was going to go?
I do. Weren't those great times?
Yeah, that was fun. That was a good time.
They
Also,
still probably
Eric and
have too crowded of a room, but now I'm less concerned about which ones we're going to keep.
Yeah. Also, Eric and I-90 wants us to become the Vikings. He wants us to accept mediocrity. It's like, welcome to the party. You're always bad. That's how it goes. Like, no, we're the Packers. We don't accept that. That's not how it works.
This is Title Town.
That was me screaming at Eric, who I loved in my car here on my way home.
I think Eric maybe makes a good point. It's like Packers fans, we're losing our mind after every game. It's like, well, this is kind of a football season, though. I'm not saying it's okay, but like, would you be shocked at all? Like, what if they go to Detroit or to New York, look great, and then come home and beat up on the Vikings and win the next two and fix a couple of these things? It's like, all right, let's have a football season. Let's have a final month of the schedule. We're going to nitpick the things and talk about the things that are bad, Tommy. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I guess there's a lot of frustration and it's warranted. To me, this is part of the season, and I'm genuinely interested to see where it goes from here because I think there's so many possibilities.
I think only the paranoid survive, and it's the thing people have a problem with the world where the rich tend to stay rich because they're focusing all of their efforts on staying rich. And as a football franchise, using that metaphor, I would like for the Packers to stay rich.
I would like to do that as well.
Continue to maintain that advantage going forward. And that's all I got. Thanks for taking my call.
No, I love your calls, Tommy. I would enjoy remaining in the 1% of football fandom. I would enjoy that. As someone who's not in the 1% in my average everyday life, I would like to remain in the 1% of my football fandom. I like that. A couple texts and a couple parting thoughts on the other side as we wrap up the show.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Zone Blitz pregame bash is back. Every Wisconsin home game 2 hours before kickoff at the Blue Moon Bar and Grill. And this year, do I have something special for you? It's a perfect snack for game day or any day. Wenzel's Farm Pro Snack Sticks. Come see me and I'll hand you 16 grams of protein to fuel you through the day. Wenzel's Farm offers that and so much more, crafted in small batches using premium cuts of meat, perfectly seasoned, and naturally hardwood smoke. Check out wenzelsfarm.com. Made by pros for pros.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Final segment of the show presented by In on the River in Trempealeau. InOnTheRiverWI.com. Like their Facebook page, too. In on the River Trempealeau. Still plenty of, I know it's chilly, but sometimes chilly Wisconsin adventures, sometimes those are the best. These have a special place in my heart for winter weekends. I'm not doing a whole lot right now. Once the fly fishing season opens up again, man, you get a 42-degree Saturday where the sun is out. That's what I'm looking for. Yes. Hector in Alaska says, got to my destination, but yeah, I got to what I was saying. Love's got to step up. Say, screw little Matt is saying the hardest in the headset about another jet sweep or screen. Throw the ball, plus wide receivers need to catch. You'd be correct. I just don't want Packers fans to completely and totally let Jordan Love off the hook today. I don't think he's been bad, and I don't think he's cost the Packers games. He just hasn't been the reason they've won these games, whether it been, Cleveland or Carolina or last night. Like, I don't think Jordan Love is the reason they didn't win. But at some point, I would like for him to be the reason that they win. That makes sense, right? That's reasonable. I'm not being nuts. Johnny Driftless says, I think this season has a lot of parallels with the 2010 season. Tight end injuries, great defense, and offense that has seen a lot of adversity. Yeah, you guys, this season actually really intrigues me down the stretch. It could go a lot of different ways, and I am genuinely excited to see where it goes. And this is all on Matt LaFleur now. The league has caught up to your offense. What will you do? We will see. A lot of divisional games, a lot of opportunities. No clue how it's going to go. Very excited to find out. Enjoy the night. Thank you for listening as